Most people your age will never own a home. And here's the part nobody talks about that might never change. Homes are getting more expensive every single year. But fewer people can afford to buy one, so who exactly is buying them? That's the question that should keep you up at night. You already know owning a home builds wealth. You already know a mortgage costs less per month than rent in most American cities. If you can get in, you win now and in the future. But knowing that doesn't help you if you can't afford the door. In 2021, 60% of homes on the market were affordable. 1 year later, 21%. In 12 months, 2/3 of all affordable housing simply vanished. The researchers called it the lowest housing affordability in recorded history. So, what's the end game here? If nobody can afford a home, prices can't keep going up. Right. Wrong, and I'm going to show you exactly why. 3 reasons, each one worse than the last. Houses do not need to be affordable for you to buy one. Here's the trick the industry figured out. You don't save up the full price of a house, you save up for a down payment. In 2020, the average American home sold for $230,000. By 2023, it was $330,000. The average American salary is $59,000 before tax. Take home is about $49,000. If that person saved a ridiculous 70% because the house grew just as fast as their savings, the average home earns as much as the average person. But you don't save the full price, you save the down payment. The National Association of Realtors found the average first-time buyer puts down just 7%. And Zillow just launched a 1% down payment program. You pay 1%. Zillow gives you the percent as a grant. You never pay it back. So the door keeps getting cheaper to open even as the house on the other side keeps getting more expensive. Nobody is selling. Here's why prices keep rising even when nobody can afford to buy. Because the people who own homes don't want to give them up. Millions of homeowners locked in mortgages below 3% during the pandemic. Why would they sell? To move into a rental market that's even more brutal. To get a brand new mortgage at double the interest rate. They're not moving. Home sales just hit their lowest point in a decade despite the population growing. In 2021, 6 million homes sold. Today, for million. The average homeowner now stays in their home for 13 years. Young adults are living with their parents longer than any point in the last 160 years. The market didn't crash, it froze. There are 3 groups still buying. Cash buyers are people who bought decades ago, selling high, buying lower, pocketing the difference. They love this market. City escapees are people fleeing expensive cities like San Francisco, New York, and Seattle, moving somewhere cheaper, getting more house for the same money, and ironically driving up prices in the very places they escaped to. Then there are investors. Investors don't care that prices are high. They don't care that interest rates are brutal. They charge record rents, they run errands. They extract every dollar possible. Year-over-year investment purchases grew 145% in 2022. The fastest growing group is institutional investors through something called REITs, real estate investment trusts. Think of them like index funds, but instead of stocks, they own houses. And here's the part that should genuinely disturb you. People who cannot afford to buy a home are throwing their down payment savings into REITs just to keep up with rising prices. The very thing making housing unaffordable is being funded by the people who can't afford housing, but cracks are starting to show. Investor purchases have slowed sharply. In cities like Las Vegas, Austin, Miami, and Houston, institutional buying has reportedly stopped completely. If investors panic and rush for the exit, fund managers sell properties. One sale forces a markdown. That triggers more withdrawals. More withdrawals force more sales. More sales push prices down, but don't get too excited. Most investors can sell shares, not actual houses, which means physical properties don't necessarily flood the market. Wealthy families are getting better at keeping their wealth across generations. Investing is easier, more accessible, and more profitable than ever before. For most of history, family fortunes rarely survived to generations. That may be changing. We may be entering an era where wealth and property stays permanently concentrated in fewer and fewer hands. What happens when more and more homes are owned by fewer and fewer people? That's a question worth asking. Keep learning how money works.